Hello and welcome back to podcast 2 of Liz&JenSpeaks. And today we're going to continue back on with our themes that we had from last week. Lisbeth's was self-resilience and mine was fear. So who wants to start?
So I can go ahead. I decided to choose a movie for this week, and I remember watching The Truman Show. Essentially, this man realizes that he's living in a world created just for him. Everything he thinks he knows is false.
Yeah.
And so, obviously, being faced with this, it's a very big, it's a shock, it's a change, and one that he didn't really know how to deal with at first. So even though it's a comedy, there's themes of resilience, because he not only did he have to overcome that his entire life was a lie. In the end, he had to find a way to found a door, a way to escape, and so that's why it just kind of represents my theme in a lighthearted manner.
Picking back up off of that, he also didn't realize his whole movie was like not his whole movie, but like his whole life was a movie for other people.
It was entertainment. That's true.
Yeah. So also, what also makes him so self-resilient is that even though he was picking up on these signs that hey, something's going on, the people around him would be like, oh no, Truman, this is not. He stick to his gut and was like, he was finding every other way to prove that hey, something's going on. I think even when it came down to his wife, I think that's where he figured out the most suspicions.
The ring, the
ring,
cross,
yes, when she crossed her fingers in the wedding photo, and also when he was trying to escape, because he was like, oh, we're going this way. He was like, oh no, we can't, Truman. It was just so happened, like miraculously, traffic would show up, or like the bus would start working, or you can't go on the boat.
So it's another like way to represent that, despite the obstacles or despite the little details trying to stop you, stay true to what you know is true.
And in the end, he did get his prize because he got his freedom.
Exactly.
And this has nothing to do with it, but I was gonna mention it. And he started to meet this girl who he wasn't supposed to date, and then they eventually had to kick her out. I think that's what really pushed them to figure out the truth about her. In the end, even though that didn't happen in the ending, I think we can infer that they eventually met back up. I just wish that was shown in the movie a little bit. But mine, I'm gonna have to explain it a lot because I feel like it plays both of our things into person. So the movie I picked, I happen to like thrillers and horror movies.
The platform?
Yeah, along with some like romance. I don't know, my taste is a little crazy. So in a sense, the movie The Platform is about prisoners, right? People are going to jail, but they have an option. They can either serve their full sentence or they can spend a shorter time on the platform. So our main character, he decides to pick this, right? So the platform in itself starts from floor 1 to, we don't even know how far it can go, but the farthest I think is like 200 or so. And you're placed on a random floor. You either have good luck of being on top or bad luck of being on the bottom. And the platform, in a sense, is a platform of food going down. And as it goes down the floors, food starts running out, so that you have to be resourceful. So this is where
it's a representation of society.
Yes,
classes.
That's exactly what it is. Yeah. So as the floors go down, there's only scraps. Like the food look appetizing. We can talk about this, but the food look good. So as it gets down to the floors, it starts running out. So people get hungry. So it got to the point where some cannibalism was going on.
Oh.
Yeah. So maybe wondering, how does this play into this? So eventually the main character, he figures out like, hey, there's a good chance I could end up on a bad floor and I could die. We can all like die. So I think
the fear comes in.
Yes. So he even has a fearful moment where he like realizes like, hey, they all get roommates. I should have mentioned that. His roommate can actually kill him because his roommate, they're all allowed to bring a item with them. You know, this boy brought a book. his roommate brought a knife. So he's like, oh wait, hey, my roommate can get a little hungry. He can actually eat me, you know?
Yeah.
So once his roommate tries to eat him, he's like, okay, now I have to take action. So after that, I think he ended up having to kill his roommate because his roommate attacked him. Yeah, crazy. That's not important.
So that's where the resilience comes in.
Yes, you see? So that's a part of his resilience, but also he decides that, hey, we all have to eat. So he decides to come up with this system with his new roommate where they're going to stand on the platform and make sure that everyone takes their piece of food and stop being gluttonous and share with everybody, and everyone gets to eat. So his roommate at first was scared, but they end up doing it, and it ended up started working where they were guarding the food, and anyone who tries to lash back, they will, beat down. Yeah, I totally watched some good stuff. So this ends up working, and they get down. He unfortunately loses his roommate. I don't know. He got plot armor. He survived. Yeah. So he ends up making it down to the bottom, and turns out there was a little girl down there the whole entire time. And the whole meaning of it was to, save her. I can't remember the whole meaning.
So basically, it could be representation for always help those that are more vulnerable, the more vulnerable parts of society. Usually considered for children. Mm-hmm. So yeah, he went against so many obstacles. He went against society to save the girl.
So I guess it plays into the idea. I think you said it. I don't know if you said it, but make sure you care for others below you too. Be considerate. So where the fear plays a part, I feel like I should break this down. Where fear plays a part is, at first he was afraid because of course he doesn't know the system. Everybody's been here for however long. He doesn't know the system. Mm-hmm. So the fear was he didn't know what was going on. There's these people were violent. These is hungry, starving people. They're violent. He's fearful. So the self-resilience came from, hey, we all are trying to play our part. He kept to his character, took a position that most wouldn't take, and guard the food, and showed, hey, even though we're all struggling, we can all be somewhat kind to each other. Right. Anything else?
No, I think that's a good conclusion for week 2.
All right.
Podcast.
Thanks for listening.